All right, the Bengals take on the Titans, 4:30 Eastern kickoff on Saturday. Talking about the NFL Divisional round. The Tennessee Titans are -3 with the total at 47. And if you want to see which one of these games that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for my NFL tier package picks on brockpage.com. And the links for those picks are in the description section below. Now, this well-rested Tennessee club comes into today's contest, Saturday's contest, winners of their last 3 straight. Now, these guys have also played really well at Nissan Stadium this season. They're 7-2 straight up at home, 6-3 against the number in those home games. And of course, the thing these guys do really well is, running the football. They're in the top 5 in the league in rush yards per contest. And speaking of running the football, looks like the Titans are going to get the big man back. I'm talking about Derrick Henry, who's going to be back in the lineup for Saturday's divisional round game. Now, defensively, the Titans have been really good on their home field as well. They currently find themselves in the top 3 in fewest home points allowed. Kevin Byard has 5 interceptions on the season, 13 PBUs for the safety. Meanwhile, Harold Landry, he has 12 sacks in the regular season along with 75 total tackles himself. Now, the Titans are amongst the best teams in the NFL in stopping the run at home as well. And when it comes to the injury report, Tart and Jones are questionable for the Titans. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, Daniels, Hendrickson, Topu, Davis, and Morgan, they are questionable for them. When it comes to the total on this one, the Bengals saw 4 out of their last 6 ball games fall under the posted number, 75% to the under on the road. Meanwhile, the Titans saw 7 out of their last 10 home games fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Tennessee -3 and the under 47. Next contest, it is going to be Niners versus the Packers, 8:15 Eastern kickoff at Lambeau on Saturday. Now, Green Bay is -5.5 with the total at 48. Now, the Packers have struggled to cover the point spread in recent meetings with San Francisco. And as a matter of fact, they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 ball games against the 49ers. Having said that, though, the Pack's literally been unbeatable at Lambeau this season. They're 8-0 straight up on the frozen tundra, 7-1 against the spread in those 8 home wins. The Packers currently lead the entire NFL in fewest home points allowed. Meanwhile, offensively, Green Bay is in the top 10 in passing yards per game. And of course, Aaron Rodgers, he threw for over 4,100 yards this season and 37 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Devontae Adams, he caught 123 balls for nearly 1,600 yards and 11 scores. They're taking on a San Francisco team who tends to shut it down offensively late in games. As a matter of fact, the Niners are currently in the bottom 5 in the league in fourth quarter scoring on the road. Now, the Niners also lost to both Seattle and Arizona twice this season. They allowed 27 points per contest defensively in those 4 divisional losses. And of course, when it comes to the quarterback position, I think the Niners are pretty much outclassed there as well, as Jimmy G's averaging only 1.2 touchdown passes a game this year. Now, injury-wise, Willis, Warner, Harris, and Bosa, they're all questionable to play here Saturday for San Francisco. Meanwhile, for Green Bay on the other side, Smith, Turner, Patrick, Alexander, Valdez-Scantling, and Summers, they are all questionable for them. So keep an eye on those guys leading up until kickoff. Now, total-wise, the Niners went 5-1 to the under in their last 6 ball games, 70% to the under in their last 10. And when the Niners traveled this season, they also went 60% to the under in those road games. Meanwhile, the Packers on the other side, they saw unders against the likes of Cleveland, Seattle, and Arizona themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Green Bay Packers -5.5 and the under 48. Next contest, it is going to be Rams versus the Bucks, 3 o'clock Eastern kickoff on Sunday. Now, Tampa Bay is -3 with the total at 48.5. And of course, Tampa Bay, they've been dominant at home this season. They're 8-1 straight up at Raymond James Stadium. 7-2 against the number in those home games. Now, the Bucs currently lead the entire NFL in home passing, and obviously they're led by Tom Brady, who completed over 78% of his passes against the Eagles this past week for 271 yards and a couple of scores. And as far as the regular season goes, Tom Brady threw for over 5,300 yards, along with 43 touchdowns. Now, wide receiver Mike Evans, he had over 1,000 yards receiving this year, along with 14 scores. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the football, not a lot of people talking about this defense. A lot of folks focused on the offense, but defensively, these guys have been really good as well. The Bucs are in the top 5 in defensive turnovers, and they're limiting their competition to just 92 yards a game rushing. Now, they're taking on a Rams team who failed to cover against the likes of Baltimore, San Francisco, and Green Bay this season. The Rams also have a losing record against the point spread on the road. And they also do a fairly poor job of stopping the pass away from home as well. As a matter of fact, this Rams defense is in the bottom 10 in the league in pass yards per contest when traveling. Meanwhile, offensively on the other side of the football, LA's done very little to establish the run game. They're actually averaging only 99 yards a game on the ground. Now, injury-wise, Rapp is questionable for the Rams. Meanwhile, Grayson, Fournette, Jones, and Wirfs, they are questionable for the Bucs. When it comes to the total in this one, the Rams saw overs recently against San Francisco, Minnesota, and Arizona. They're also 6-3 to the over officially on the road. Meanwhile, the Bucs, they are 5-4 to the over at Raymond James Stadium. I'm going to lean toward Tampa Bay -3 and the over 48.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Buffalo versus Kansas City. And that's going to be a 6:30 Eastern start time on Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs are -1.5 with the total at 54. Kansas City failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3 ball games. And they went just 5-5 against the spread at Arrowhead this year. Having said that, though, the Chiefs did get the outright W in 8 out of their last 10 ball games on their home field. And they currently find themselves in the top 3 in the NFL in total yards per game. Patrick Mahomes threw for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in the wild card playoff game against Pittsburgh. As a matter of fact, Mahomes went 30 for 39 passing in that game, which is good for 77%. Now, when it comes to regular season stats, Mahomes threw for nearly 4,900 yards along with 37 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they each had well over 1,100 yards receiving apiece, along with 18 total touchdown grabs. Now, when it comes to the defensive play in this one, the Chiefs allow only 21 points a game, and they rank in the top 5 in takeaways. Now, they're taking on a Buffalo squad who does a whole lot right. Not going to take that away from them, but they have struggled with Kansas City in recent meetings. As a matter of fact, the Bills lost 6 out of their last 10 contests against Kansas City, and they failed to cover the number this season against the likes of Tampa Bay, New England, and Indianapolis. And even as unbeatable as they seem right now, just keep in mind that the Bills fell short to the likes of Jacksonville and Pittsburgh this season. Those were outright losses to those clubs. Now, injury-wise, Obata is questionable for Buffalo. Edwards-Helaire questionable for Kansas City. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Chiefs did see games against Denver, Dallas, and Green Bay fall short of the posted number. Meanwhile, Buffalo saw 2 out of their last 3 fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Kansas City -1.5 and the under 54. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com. I like Tennessee -3 under 47. Green Bay -5.5 under 48. Tampa Bay -3 over 48.5. And with my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Kansas City -1.5 and the under 54. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on BrockPage.com, you're going to get access to those picks all the way through the end of January. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And if you want to get access to every single bet that I give out on that website, you may want to think about signing up for my board member tier, where board members get access to every single pick that I give out on that website all the way through the end of January as well. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.